lot of funny things go by. One fish, two fish. Red fish, blue fish.
Maybe it's going to take a few decades of research to determine what went wrong with our disease rates. Hopefully it won't. Seriously. Now we're changing gears here a bit because I want to be clear about something. I am not linking autism to vaccines. So before you think that, listen to me clearly. I am not even suggesting that vaccines cause autism. Thanks to Andrew Wakefield and Jenny McCarthy, you can't even talk about this subject without people assuming that that's what you're doing. So before you think that, listen to me again. I am not linking vaccines to autism, period. But I am bringing this subject up because this film is about chemicals. And from our vaccines, we mainline them directly into our bodies, no questioning that. So we should talk about it, right? However, today, many parents and organizations are directly blaming vaccines for causing adverse reactions in their children and sometimes themselves. And truth be told, they might be right. And when you hear something like that, you need to suspend a lot of judgments and dig. Do a lot of research, and that's exactly what I did. I mean, vaccines have been one of the greatest discoveries of modern science, and to think that they could be doing a lot of heavy damage is almost inconceivable. We do know this much, though. Unlike many chemicals, vaccines are designed to stay inside of all of our bodies. So, it might be a good thing to know a thing or two about them, right?
As individuals and as a community, we can do many things to halt this movement of germs and prevent the spread of disease. If each and every one of us took advantage of the time-proved protection offered by vaccination and preventive inoculation.
Probably the biggest reason vaccines have become such a big topic is we give so many more vaccines today than we did 20 years ago. And so today's parents are wondering, have we crossed the threshold of safety? Are we overloading kids? And back in the 80s, parents didn't really question it very much because there just wasn't so many vaccines. But nowadays, I think parents are wise to at least want some better safety research. They want to know, are we giving too much, or is this practice completely safe?
Thrust it, thrust it, thrust it, then hide the reveal.
We really should have spaced out your vaccinations.
Well, when you look at vaccine chemicals, you have formaldehyde, you have thimerosal in the flu vaccines, there's polysorbate 80, some vaccines have a little bit of MSG. I think our bodies can handle these very small quantities of these various chemicals. However, I'm assuming that's the case because there's very little research that's actually ever looked at injecting small quantities of these chemicals into our babies and seeing how they handle these chemicals. So we really don't know. For all these dozens of chemicals we're injecting our babies with, there's actually no scientific proof that these chemicals are safe. Now, one chemical that is not in small quantities in vaccines is aluminum.
Once in the cell, it can go to every compartment in the cell, and it's toxic to DNA. In fact, it's a known carcinogen. It has been linked in clinical studies, clearly animal studies, particularly sarcomas in cats. So it is a known carcinogen, and it gets everywhere.
So we have animal research that shows aluminum is dangerous, but we don't have any comparative human research to show, how well humans can handle it.
Now, if you listen to any drug commercial on TV, they always tell you one thing. Side effects may vary. And why do they vary? Well, that's simple. All of our bodies work differently. And with anything that has side effects, it's really tough to know how your body will react to anything, including a vaccine, until you actually take it. And getting shots, it's almost routine today. Our kids get about 27 of them by the time they're 18. And if we wind the clocks back to 2009, if you had been watching TV, reading newspapers, or going online, one headline seemed to dominate all of the others. It was a strange combination to hear. H1N1, and it was making another comeback.
People wait and wait and wait to get the flu vaccine. Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius defended the government's response to the virus, saying it is more robust than ever in the history of this country.
Some question the government's track record.
Ouch.
In 1976, the decision to vaccinate 43 million people against a similar strain of flu backfired. The outbreak never materialized, and approximately 500 people suffered severe side effects. 25 died.
And now 4,000 Americans are claiming damages from Uncle Sam amounting to $3.5 billion because of what happened when they took that shot.
After I learned that, I thought, well, certainly the government helped those affected by this. I mean, I'm sure they made it right for these families, didn't they? Well, they did what any organization would do in this circumstance, I suppose. The CDC and the federal government decided to create a law, and they inserted it into the Public Readiness and Emergency Preparedness Act that states, you cannot hold anyone responsible for any side effects or deaths that may have been caused by any experimental drug or vaccine released to the public when it is considered a national public health emergency. This provision had been passed in December 2005, 4 years before the latest H1N1 vaccine went into widespread use. Pretty good timing, right? And here, this is the point. If we continue to receive vaccines, how many of those are experimental? Do they tell us before we get injected? And what does that mean for us over a long period of time? I guess we'll find out eventually.